Well, Slancha, howdy do, buckaroos. How the heck are you? I am Tom, the Whiskey Whisperer. For the purposes of this video, I forgot to turn my fire down, though. I just realized, and I'm getting a glare. I hadn't tried doing this before, so I didn't know how it was going to work. There we go. Let me just get that out of the shot there. Trying something new. Anyway, how the heck are you? So I've got two cocktails to have with you. Not necessarily cocktails just for the winter, but maybe winter inspired cocktails that will make you feel good in the wintertime. Maybe cocktails that are um, that would be fine over a holiday meal per se. And the first one I want to have with you is simple, and I set this one up just to show you that cocktails can be simple. Things don't have to have 100 ingredients in them, and this one only has two. Adjust something real quickie. There we go. Now we're all set up. All righty. So yeah, all I have in this one, I had about 3 ounces of my Saint Elmo Steakhouse Cherry Vanilla Infused Bourbon. It's at 88 proof. It is a straight bourbon whiskey with dark cherry vanilla liqueur colored with fruit and vegetable juice. From St. Elmo Steakhouse, cherry vanilla infused bourbon, produced and bottled by St. Elmo Steakhouse, Indianapolis, Indiana. Didn't get a chance to visit the steakhouse, but I wanted to buy this whiskey just out of curiosity. And as far as flavored whiskeys go, it really is better than most. I really have enjoyed it in specialty cocktails such as this. So again, I said this one only has two ingredients, as that St. Elmo whiskey and cocoa bitters. The idea is just a cherry cordial, very simple, very easy. Served in a cordial glass. Slancha. Oh, mercy, man, that is tasty. Now you can add more things to this if you wanted to, right? I mean, if you had cream de cocoa, you could put it in there. If you wanted chocolate liqueur, if you wanted to up the cocoa. For me, this is perfect. I just those cocoa bitters give you the aroma, just a hint of flavor, just enough to add to that cherry vanilla. But I mean, if you want to embellish it, that's really up to you. I think this just makes a nice template, and that cherry vanilla whiskey lends itself well. It's already there. And again, I'm not typically a fan of flavored whiskeys, but this one really comes off nice. It doesn't come off artificial as many do. You do feel those nice cherry notes, a lot of vanilla running through there that really enhance the cherry. The garnish I have in here is just a cherry on the bottom. If you again, you can get fancier with the garnish if you like. A lot of folks want to lay it on top so it looks pretty. I don't do that because to me the garnish does you no good sitting on top of the drink. It only helps if it's in the cocktail, but that's just my way of thinking. I'm more practical, right? But for aesthetics, yes, it does look pretty sitting on top of the cocktail. Oh man, that is nice. That is really nice. Again, and the point was just to show that not everything has to contain 100 ingredients, right? Um, just achieve your goal. Then, if you want to go beyond that, you can. I wanted to get something that had that would make you think of a cherry cordial. I didn't have a chocolate liqueur here or cream de cocoa. If I did, I might have put some in there. But it gives you a place to start. I hate the wintertime. Anybody that knows me knows that. I hate getting out in the cold. I hate everything about it. But I do love the big barrel aged beers that come out this time of year, and I do love this type of cocktail. These comforting, these comforting winter esque cocktails. I just love them. And I don't know where I got that from. My dad really wasn't a cocktail guy. The only thing I ever saw my dad drink was whiskey and water, whether that be Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, or Wild Turkey, because those are the only three whiskeys he ever had on ice, glass filled with ice, whiskey poured to the top with about that much room, just a splash of water. That's the only thing dad drank. But somewhere down the line, I just developed a love for cocktails, but simple cocktails. I like the classics. I like a Manhattan. That's probably my favorite cocktail, but I like an old fashioned if it's not too sweet. I had to quit ordering them out because every time I had one, it was just so sweet I couldn't stand it. But it was 2020. It was COVID, man. It was 2020 when we were all locked in. That I decided I was going to find a way to like the old fashioned, and I kept cutting the amount of sugar down until I got to where I liked it. I just seen so many recipes call for equal parts, or ounce and a half of liquor, ounce and a half of simple or sugar cube, and then there's some 2 to 1. My my ratio is typically 2 ounces, 2.5 ounces to a half ounce of simple. And when I make a simple, I always use raw sugar because you get a much cleaner product than if using granulated sugar. And for me, if I'm going to have a cocktail, I'm going to have a good one. And there is that argument about quality of whiskey, right? How high on the shelf you want to go. In all honesty, I think that's just well, I was going to say point of view, but I think there's more to it. I think it's socioeconomic, right? Because what's a top shelf whiskey to me, uh, may be a bottom shelf whiskey to somebody else. I mean, spending $50 for a bottle of whiskey for me is a lot of money, but for others, it's a low end. So I think it's all matter of opinion. So for me, I'm using a good whiskey that typically run anywhere between $40 to $60 a bottle, which for me is on the higher end. But I'm also of the mind that a cocktail is only as good as the ingredients you put in it. Long Island iced tea, for instance, typically is all bottom shelf liquors. I never order them because you're getting the worst of the worst. They're putting the worst possible liquors in your drink, charging you a high price, and you wonder why you have a horrible hangover in the morning. So for me, yeah, I want to use good quality products. Don't get me wrong, there are some whiskeys that should be left for neat drinking. But then again, in my opinion, anyway, if you're making a a classic top shelf cocktail, if you're making a Manhattan, for instance, where your ingredients are your liquor of choice, your vermouth of choice, and bitters, in my opinion, you want to use three of the best that you can, the best you can afford, because you don't want a bottom shelf Manhattan. Now, am I buying top shelf vermouth? No, but I'm staying away from the bottom too. I'm buying what I can afford. So I'm going as far up the food chain as I can, and the same with my liquor, and bitters for that matter. Uh, I bought a lot of different products when we were on vacation back in September, so I'm working through a lot of that stuff. But like I said, I didn't get to the St. Elmo Steakhouse, unfortunately. I'll put that on the list for next time. But I did hit a few distilleries in Columbus, Ohio, and one of them is gonna be showcased with the next cocktail. Yeah, like I said, again, you could take this in any direction you want, right? If you're going cherry chocolate, if you want to add cream to cocoa, a chocolate liquor of your choice, you could. But for me, I didn't feel like I needed it. Well, then, let me answer that question a little more. I don't have those other ingredients, so for me, this worked. Will I pick up some cream de cocoa at some time in the future? Most likely. Like, I'm kind of gradually adding to my bar, but I'm more of a purist, so I don't buy a lot of those liqueurs and other things that you might add to a drink because for me, I don't need them. Let me finish this up, and I'm going to go step off camera for a second and get my second cocktail. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Okay, so one of the distilleries that I visited in Columbus, Ohio, was Watershed. So I picked up a few products from them. This one here is what I use in this particular cocktail. It's their Watershed Distillery straight bourbon whiskey, finished finished in apple brandy barrels. It's at 90 proof. But I also picked up something that I'd never had before at Watershed, which is Nicino. And I got it out of curiosity because I never tasted it at that point. I never made any cocktails with it, but I just had some ideas that it would really enhance some cocktails. So this is a barrel finished Nicino from Watershed Distillery. It's at 28.4% or 56.8 proof. Let me show you that bottle. So this particular cocktail, adjust my screen again here. This particular cocktail has 2.5 ounces of the Watershed, 1 ounce of the Nicino, a few dashes black walnut bitters, and a half ounce of bourbon barrel aged maple syrup. So what I've done here is I had a recipe where I had been using a recipe for maple old fashioned that used the bourbon, maple, and bitters, and I decided to add the Nicino to do a maple nut old fashioned, if you will. And my garnish is just a cinnamon stick, as you've noticed, if you've watched me enough, you know I like to keep things as simple as humanly possible. That's kind of my shtick, as you see so many so-called bartenders and mixologists trying to complicate the hell out of everything. I'm going 100%. I'm going 180, I guess I should say, 180 degrees the other direction. I want to keep it simple, even though this is a lot of ingredients for me. I mean, I've got 4 ingredients in this cocktail, 5 if you count the garnish, and that's really as far as I want to go. Because I always have a particular flavor in mind. So my idea is, what do I need to achieve that flavor? I don't need 100 ingredients to achieve that flavor. What do I need just to get there? Damn, that's delicious. I had never had Nicino before, as I said. And when I got home, I started making cocktails with it. I was using it in place of sweet vermouth originally to do, obviously not quite a Manhattan, but something Manhattan-ish, right? Just replacing the sweet vermouth with a Nicino, and I found that I really enjoyed that a lot. It is very distinctive, but I love black walnuts. They're indigenous to my area here in the Ozarks, so we have them often. But I never had Nicino before, and I found I really, really like it. So I like putting it in different things. But I wanted to see how it would be, and I hadn't tried it in this capacity yet, to add with the maple to basically make the version of a maple old fashioned, but adding that nutty element, if you were, if you will, rather. I really liked a Watershed. I had a good time there. We had our anniversary dinner there. I will admit that I think I liked it more than my wife did, but the main dish was incredible. She wasn't crazy about the sides, but we had the spent grain bread, which was outstanding, and the halibut was amazing. Uh, that is really good, man. I started using this Nicino a lot as soon as we got home. You can see I'm about half a bottle in because I made myself stop using it for a while. Because I mean, the first month after I got back, I felt like I was putting it in everything. So I kind of made myself stop using it for a minute. But now that we're knee deep into winter, you're gonna start seeing it pop up more. I'm gonna try to come up with other avenues to add this to. But I thought if I'm doing a maple old fashioned, adding the Nicino should work with all the other ingredients was the idea. Some might look at my wall and say you're already decorated for St. Patrick's Day. And in my opinion, the second you get through New Year's, that's what you look for St. Patrick's Day. However, there's the however. These particular things you see on the wall stay up year round. We just don't take them down. It's always St. Patrick's Day here at the Whiskey Whisperer house. We even have shamrock curtains over there. Sometimes I have them in some of the videos. So behind me is my signed pictures of Saxon and Uriah Heep. That was for my 59th birthday last year. They actually played in town at the Galois Theater here on my birthday, which is why I went. And I got the VIP package so I could meet everybody. It was really nice, man. It was a lot of reminiscing because I mean I've been fans of these bands since I was a kid, and I had never seen Uriah Heep before, but I had seen Saxon way back when. Oh, they were opening for Iron Maiden, I believe, 100 years ago, somewhere in the '80s. Man, who can remember now? But yeah, I grew up in Southern California, so anyways, when I had the opportunity to see them, it just felt like it was meant to be. So I started revisiting their songs again because I mean I liked both bands, but they weren't necessarily two favorites. So I started revisiting the songs again, and I found I really like both bands, but probably generational. I really resonated with Saxon. But man, so I remember thinking at the time they were going to get huge, right on the heels of Iron Maiden. They never quite got there. I mean, they had a big following in the UK, but not quite over here. But the more I listened to them, the more I delved into other than Wheels of Steel and the songs everybody knows. I really liked them, and live they were just incredible. In fact, both bands were tight as can be. Ah, that is a nice cocktail, man. I named the video "Winter Theme." Maybe I should have said "comforting cocktails," right? It all depends on your point of view, right? But yeah, I mean there are ingredients that may make you think of winter, but yeah, probably comforting would have been a better description now that I think it all the way through. Mm, gosh, that is nice, man. My wife, if I point this out every time I do a video with these, but I really love these glasses. My wife found these at a thrift store, a hollow stem coupe, and we were watching Foul Play, Chevy Chase, Goldie Hawn from 1978. My wife said, "There's your glasses." They had some hollow stem coupe in the. There was a party scene, and I'll be damned. Maybe these are those. But I've got a friend who kind of an amateur expert on glassware, and he'd never seen one. up close and personal. They're kind of a pain to clean, I guess, but I love the presentation of them. I love the coupe. The coupe is probably my favorite glassware because they are so versatile. I mean, it works for. I'm serving. I'm calling this an old fashioned, but I'm serving it straight up because not big into ice. But the coupe is perfect for I mean, any straight up cocktail, whether it be a Manhattan. A lot of cocktails will have a preferred glass, but this one works too. French 75 being one of those, which is traditionally served in a champagne flute, but it can also be served in a coupe. A martini also works in a coupe. It just anything straight up works perfectly in a coupe. So you can eliminate other glassware by just using this style. And they're a lot better to navigate than say a martini glass. Uh, so this cocktail, this particular cocktail, I would say would be, I wouldn't have this with dinner. I would say it would be that perfect digestif, right? That after dinner cocktail, or that dessert or fireplace cocktail later in the evening when you're finally relaxed. Make yourself a nice drink, sit down, and watch the fireplace, even if it is just on your television set. Anyways, I digress. Bear with me. I was checking something real fast here. There we are. All right. Just wanted to make sure it was working. All right. So anyway, as we get ready to whoa. Ah, technical difficulties. Bear with me. Sorry about that. Sorry about the echo. Anyways, I need a better production manager because I'm just not doing the job, man. Anyways, I digress. I am Tom. I'm going to take my garnish out for a second, finish the rest of this cocktail. I am Tom, the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker. Gosh, that's good. So, I showed you that. I forgot to show you the maple syrup, though. I just realized the maple syrup that I use is Sweetwater's bourbon barrel aged maple syrup, pure Columbiana County, Ohio maple. So yeah, I picked up two different bottles of barrel aged maple syrup when we were in Columbus, and that was one of them. So I wanted to show you that. Anyways, let's start from the beginning again. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, prefer whiskey man. All right, good guys, Sláinte. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it.